What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Bulls Latest. Your host, Matt Johnson here. Going to kick off this Wednesday show with an update regarding a guy I linked to the Bulls a while back, given a lot of circulating rumors weeks ago emerging. Given the Bulls have Arturas Karnisovas running the show, he is of Lithuanian descent. They have again been linked to Sacramento Kings star Domantas Sabonis. The Bulls have emerged as one of the top suitors for Sacramento's Domantas Sabonis, according to many league sources here. It is known, and I reported on this a while back when the rumors kind of started, but the front office has held, and it's the Bulls front office, has held internal discussions on pursuing Domantas with longstanding admiration for the Lithuanian. Kind of factoring into the interest there with AK and him and having that connection. So this was a potential target weeks ago. Again, kind of gaining steam. The Kings are looking to probably sell everybody, it sounds like, including Zach LaVine and guys like that. So they're kind of a mess, kind of a situation the Bulls find themselves in currently. So I don't know if Domantas Sabonis is going to be, the guy who answers a lot of these questions for Chicago. Yeah, he's a hell of a player, but I don't know if that's a swing you take if you're the Bulls front office at this moment in time with the way things have gone and kind of the mistakes that the front office has made in the past here in the near, not so long ago. It was, the Bulls bringing in Zach LaVine for a long time, and that didn't necessarily work. So little wary about this move. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know the rumors continue to pick up, and they will continue to go. We're in the early stages of December only here, so we have a few months until the trade deadline. You're going to have a lot of names on this roster, I think, brought up in general in terms of moving to other situations as well, especially if things continue to go the way that they are. The Bulls could look to blow this thing up and move in a true, although they haven't done that in years past, and they've kind of failed to choose that direction. The Bulls could really become sellers here if they continue to drop ball games and move out of that play-in conversation in the Eastern Conference. I'll get into that later in terms of what the latest odds are for Chicago, looking at the postseason picture at this point of the year. Where the Bulls currently stand. Anyway, I wanted to flip and kind of talk about the most recent power rankings here. The Bulls, it comes as no surprise here, they dropped to 22 in these power rankings. They were previously at 18, so they dropped 4 spots. Honestly, I'm surprised they've only dropped 4 spots given how much they've struggled in recent weeks here. Obviously their biggest weakness labeled is their offense in a general sense. They really have struggled offensively of late, coming off that season low performance Sunday night against the Golden State Warriors at the United Center. That's the new low point for this Bulls team. The offense has really hit a roadblock here. Just about everything has gone wrong and is going wrong during this 7-game losing streak for Chicago. It really was erased. It did erase any good vibes that this team had brought together with that hot start to the year. They were once 5-0. Feels like an afterthought, feels like something that happened a long, long time ago given this losing streak and the way things have gone. But once upon a time, the Bulls were 5-0, had a fast start to this season, a lot of excitement out of the gate. That has certainly gone away at the blink of an eye here. The Bulls were always going to be challenged defensively. We kind of knew that, and I previewed this season back towards the tail end of the preseason there. We kind of knew the Bulls had defensive challenges. Bringing in Isaac Okoro was felt like a not a last-ditch effort, but a move, flipping Lonzo Ball for what they saw as a defensive upgrade in Isaac Okoro, who unfortunately has not been able to stay on the floor for the majority of this early part of the season due to injury. So hopefully they get him back and he could bolster their chances on defense. It's still going to be a group that's challenged defensively, but they were always going to be challenged defensively considering their personnel as a whole there. So their offense was supposed to be fast. Was supposed to be built on ball movement and featuring several capable playmakers. Something, again, we saw during that hot flash start to the year when the Bulls really started well offensively and were moving the ball well, and you had a lot of key contributors throughout the entire roster. That's gone away, and that's gone away fast. Instead, looking at the Bulls' numbers, the Bulls have the league's 24th ranked offensive rating since November 24th. they have the 24th ranked offensive rating, but since November 24th, it's the league's worst. So, since right around Thanksgiving, the Bulls have really, really struggled on offense. The Bulls have become a lot more ISO heavy. Something I talked about a few episodes ago. You're seeing the Bulls really go into ISO mode a lot more often, and I think Billy Donovan spoke to that following the loss to Golden State. They need to work together. They need to move the ball, get back to that. They've also become a lot more turnover prone and just overall inefficient as an offense, which has reopened questions about the direction of their roster and how things have been constructed here. I think it's reached a point where you start to see the true weaknesses that are in this roster and the things that they are missing and the way this thing is kind of constructed and how flawed it is. And, you can only hope that they kind of dig themselves out of this losing streak and kind of create some positivity, but it may not be easy given the way this roster has been put together. So, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how things go here as we move through the most difficult stretch of the season to this point. So, anyway, wanted to flip and talk about the NBA Cup here. Wanted to give you guys an NBA Cup update. Obviously, we're into the quarterfinal stages in both the Eastern and Western Conference here. On Tuesday night, the Orlando Magic defeated the Miami Heat 117-108. They advanced to the semis in Vegas. The Knicks also beat the Toronto Raptors 117-101. They will also advance to the semis in Vegas. So that's the Eastern Conference side. On Wednesday night, on the Western Conference side, you'll have the Phoenix Suns playing the Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma City in a quarterfinal matchup, and then the Spurs will play at the Los Angeles Lakers in the second Western Conference quarterfinal matchup. The Spurs have ruled out Wemby for this matchup already. That's of significance there. So the Lakers, I believe, have ballooned to like a 7.5-point favorite in this contest. They are expected to probably take care of San Antonio and move on to Vegas there. Oklahoma City, on that side of things, they're just on a ridiculous run right now, sprinting out to a 23-1 start to the year. Now, I'm not really surprised. They are such a strong roster, and they're really picking up right where they left off a year ago. They're looking like, though, that they could challenge the Golden State Warriors' record-breaking season back in 2015-2016 when they beat the Chicago Bulls mark and went 73-9. This Thunder team looks like they're well on their way to having a season of such sorts there where they could possibly win 74 games. I mean, it's hard to believe, and we have a lot of basketball left, but the way they're playing right now and how easy these wins seem to come and how effortless their roster continues to put together lineups that can just win night in and night out is truly impressive there. So, that's going to be exciting there. But we have the Western Conference play-in quarterfinals coming up here, so that'll be exciting. And then finally, I kind of wanted to, I told you guys I'd finish up the show with this, but the latest odds for the Chicago Bulls, taking a look from a, big picture point of view here. It's been a while since we've checked in on the latest Chicago Bulls betting odds. Obviously, they're going to be, plummet a little bit given this losing streak. They are now plus 330 to make the playoffs. To not make the playoffs, it sits at minus 450. So the odds makers do not expect this Bulls team to make the postseason. Interestingly enough, though, given the struggles, there's still minus 145 to participate in the Eastern Conference play-in. That's the second best odds, which I found kind of interesting, and they're only behind the Sixers, who lead the odds list to participate in the play-in. They're minus 185 to make the play-in tournament. So they still have the Bulls pegged as a favorite to play in the Eastern Conference play-in. They've become very, very familiar in recent years with this play-in tournament and making it since the format was rolled out. The Bulls are playing merchant. So, they're kind of expecting more of the same, and that means that they're kind of expecting the Bulls at some point to start winning ball games again before we hit the trade deadline, because who knows, again, what the direction of this organization is going to be if the struggles continue through December, the rest of December and January up until the February deadline. I expect the Bulls to win some ball games. Again, they have two very winnable games coming up starting Friday against the Charlotte team, in which they, again, dropped their last contest against them, and then New Orleans to follow, who they also lost to recently. So those are two games. to start off this week. They have the days off here. They have the time to get right and to really prepare for a stretch run here where they could win some ball games. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that. Let me know what you guys think of the power rankings and the Sabonis rumors. What do you think of the Bulls' latest betting odds? What will you be taking? Do you think the Bulls are a good bet to make the play-in tournament? Are you willing to lay that minus 145 juice on them to participate in that play-in tournament later in the year here? So thanks again, guys. A little bit of a lighter show without game action, but we will be back in action in Charlotte Friday night against the Hornets there. And then, we'll give you guys a recap on that one and hopefully get back to winning ways here if you're a Bulls fan. So thanks again, guys, for joining me. Your guys' support has been awesome to this point, and we will see you next time.